eyes, you diseased little munchkins! Well, you begged, pleaded, threw movies at me, and now you're about to see my review of Gremlins 2, the new batch. Is everyone ready? Alrighty, let the show begin!
Spreading the news, I'm leaving today. I wanna be a part of it.
It's been about a few years since I covered the movie Gremlins on this channel, and since someone ever so graciously sent me a copy of the sequel, I figured, why not? Seems like the right time anyway. Released on June 15th, 1990, 6 years after the first movie, Gremlins 2, the new batch, sees the return of Joe Dante as director, but this time, no Chris Columbus writing the script. In fact, Joe Dante initially declined to make a sequel because he felt the first movie had a proper ending. While Warner Brothers attempted to work without him, they eventually asked again, promising complete creative control and a budget triple that of the first movie. That's freaking insane! Furthermore, he opted to make this a satire of the first movie and of sequels in general. Meaning, this will definitely feel more comedic and cartoony than even the first movie, which had a good blend of humor and horror. How much so? Let's find out with Gremlins 2, the new batch. Wait, what? Looney Tunes? Yes, right before the actual movie begins, we get a little cartoon involving Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. It's directed by legendary Looney Tunes animator and director Chuck Jones, who previously cameoed in the first movie, and has been cited by Joe Dante as one of his many influences as a movie director. It's pretty amusing as Daffy tries to hijack the logo animation, only to get messed up in the process.
Let's take it from the top.
Then the movie begins proper as we open up on Manhattan, New York, where some construction is happening in the Chinatown area. We see the return of Kay Luke as Mr. Wing, enjoying the whistling of a certain little creature undercover, who is approached by some businessmen logging a TV set who say their boss, Daniel Clamp, played by John Glover, would like to speak with him. And by that, they just play a VHS recording of him.
The Clamp Chinatown Center, where business gets oriented.
I should note that the character is meant to be a parody of Donald Trump, and trust me, it's very apparent the more we see him. Naturally, Mr. Wing turns him down, but hey, at least they let him keep the TV. Now Gizmo can watch his favorite movie. Well, to be more precise, it's Rambo 2, First Blood Part 2. I guess he's a big fan of Sylvester Stallone. And yeah, Gizmo is back, looking a lot more streamlined this time around, and is once again voiced by Howie Mandel. It's sounding like Mr. Wing isn't doing well health-wise, and the suits know it. 6 weeks later, we check out the Clamp building, which has a statue of the Earth being clamped by the logo. How quaint. Oh, and Mr. Wing is finally dead, meaning Mr. Clamp's conquest of New York can continue unscathed. Poor Gizmo is left alone, but luckily his cage is open as the construction crew begins to wreck house. Who needs to remove priceless antiques when you gotta prepare for the future? Now, putting aside some of the green screening going on, the practical effects are pretty good with Gizmo and the new batch of Gremlins we'll be seeing. However, they weren't done by Chris Wallace, like in the first film, but rather Rick Baker, who initially wasn't interested in the movie until he was persuaded, and we'll see what he did later. I know, it's like he keeps coming into my life or something. Anyway, Gizmo gets captured by this overly eager creep.
If you want to find something weird, you have to go downtown.
Who I can't help but think means that in a racist way. After which, we get reintroduced to Billy Peltzer, once again played by Zach Galligan, and Kay Berringer, reprised by Phoebe Cates, who are both engaged and currently work at Clamp Enterprises. They walk past many advertisements while explaining how they've been stuck at this dead-end job for years. Hard not to see this place as bad when they have a busted automated door system.
Door precision and efficiency.
Jeez, this place looks like if you'd applied Grover House-style interiors to a New York skyscraper. Seriously, what even is this layout? And is this the tourist floor? You know things are bad when class field trips are held here. Get your kids into capitalism early and buy a book of the Clamp Manifesto. After splitting up with Kate, Billy meets with his superior, Marla Bloodstone, played by Haviland Morris, regarding his concept art of the new Chinatown Business Center. Really, this scene can sum up just how dystopian capitalist society can be, and I don't mean just by having to create art that doesn't reflect reality.
They're gonna plant trees there?
No, but you're going to draw them.
Yeah, but the way it is now...
Elms.
Looks like somebody hasn't read his employee manual, doesn't it, Mr. Peltzer?
Not only do they not value his work, but they don't even know his name without having to look it up. He is not a person in this establishment, he is just another cog in the machine. Also, this guy here is Frank Forster, played by Joe Dante regular Robert Picardo, chief of security in this place, and he's a real asshole.
Maybe everybody here would like to do some little touches. Coffee mugs that say world's greatest lover. The ashtray that reads, rest your butt here. You'd like that, wouldn't you, Mr. Peltzer? Coming to work every day in a $200 million flea market.
Moving on. No, I'm sorry. I can't get over how very corporate everything is in this one scene. Only authorized art that looks bland is allowed, constant moderation of their employees with merciless termination of career and benefits? Who the hell would want to work here? Though I guess when you have so many branches of business, it's hard to avoid working for them. It's like sticking your name on something and hoping it sticks, and then years later, it goes bankrupt. By the way, the janitor who gets fired here is played by Henry Gibson, who was the voice of Dr. Applecheek from Tom and Jerry the movie. Anyway, they have a cable TV network, and one of their programs is a horror-themed show hosted by Grandpa Fred, played by Robert Prosky, who is basically just Al Lewis's character Count Sam Dracula from The Munsters. He laments to Billy how he hoped to do something meaningful with his career, like being a news broadcaster, only to end up doing lame work like this. You can definitely relate, given our current state of living.
You know, Fred, you should run some of your classic horror movies like Frankenstein or Dracula.
All the great horror movies are in black and white. Mr. Clamp only likes color. That guy's strange.
I know! Who actually likes Octoman, outside of maybe the Riff Tracks version? He's so weird. If anything, it's meant to be a jab at the late Ted Turner, who made his own broadcasting company and also tried colorizing old black and white movies. Fred mentions how this building has its own genetic research lab upstairs, called Splice of Life. And yep, it looks like Gizmo is here from the whistling. This biohazard in the making is operated by Dr. Cushing Catheter, played by Christopher Lee, in what I think is the funniest role I've seen of his.
I've got rabies. And I'm supposed to get the flu this week.
I think we have the flu up backward.
Could I have that, Peggy?
And I sure would love to know how they got a baby elephant in here. Though this whole lab is one big mad scientist lair. Oh look, it's the creepy mustache guy from before, and what the?
How's the cloning work coming along?
Really well, Doctor.
Ha! Okay, these guys are Catheter's assistants, Martin and Lewis, played by identical twin brothers, Don and Dan Stanton. Regardless of who or what they are, they show Catheter their latest finding. Aside from reminding us about not liking light, they play music for Gizmo to dance to.
I'm willing and I'm able.
This probably looked nicer before things went HD. Still, it's adorable as hell. He almost tries getting away, but is easily caught. And they plan to dissect him later in the name of science. Back with Billy, we get more stupid clamp technology, like automated lights that turn off due to a lack of movement, and a faulty video phone connection while inside the same building. It's like when Elon Musk tries to innovate stuff but makes it cheap and crappy. He then hears that one delivery guy whistling Gizmo's tune and learns that he is from the research center. He heads on up, tricks the receptionist to get in, and immediately manages to find Gizmo right as the main scientists attempt to do what now?
Millions of rats in New York City and everyone hates them. But if one of them could power a portable radio for a month...
What? Billy puts Gizmo in a toolbox he brought along, lets some monkeys loose to distract them, and then hides out in the restroom to have an emotional reunion after so many years.
Gizmo, what are you doing here?
What, you didn't hear about Mr. Wing's death on the news? Well, he pieces it together after asking, so it's fine. He puts Gizmo in a drawer and tells him to wait for him until he can take him home. How the security system didn't catch any of his activities is a plot point I'm willing to ignore because I don't want these two to get caught. For now, Daniel Clamp himself shows up in the office, and he takes a liking to Billy's artwork, saying that he likes people who produce. And since Marla's a bit of a suck-up, she wants to discuss things with Billy over dinner, even though he's engaged. He promises Gizmo that he'll send someone, Kate most likely, to get him later. But that doesn't stop Gizmo from climbing out with a little paperclip rope. That's cute. Kate isn't happy to hear about possibly dealing with more gremlins after what happened last time, but as long as she follows the 3 rules, she'll be fine. However, we might just see the problem occur anyway, as Joe the janitor has a little mishap with the water fountain, and Gizmo is nearby. Also, is that John Astin, aka Gomez Addams from the original Addams Family TV show? Yeah, it definitely is. You know, you can move away, Gizmo. He eventually does, but of course, the next spray drips off Billy's painting and onto him. Thus, the little furballs start ejecting, and we get our new batch. The 2 Mogwai in the drawer are named George and Lenny, after the 2 lead characters from Of Mice and Men. The bouncing, googly-eyed one is appropriately named Daffy, and the one in the trash can is their leader, Mohawk, who is basically a reincarnation of Stripe from the first movie. This is part of the reason they were able to get Rick Baker to come in, because they allowed him to create more diverse-looking creatures than what the first movie had to offer. We've yet to reach their second form, but I'm already digging the way their Mogwai forms look and move. They're freaking goofy and creepy. I love it. So after stripping Gizmo of the armband he had on, they push him into the air vent and close it off behind him, trapping him inside. Some of them take the elevator down, leaving Daffy alone while Kate comes up to get Gizmo.
How'd you get up there?
Okay, I know it's been a few years, but you couldn't have forgotten what he looked like. Also, haha, obvious King Kong joke. Poor Gizmo is left to explore the ventilation system, while Mohawk and crew get horny for women. I'm not joking. Over at the Canadian restaurant, Billy and Marla open up about their respective lives, with Marla hitting on him in ways highly uncomfortable to him. But hey, a literal chocolate mousse! That's cool. With a kiss near the lips, Billy leaves while Kate deals with Daffy. She's still unaware that he's not Gizmo, even as he breaks stuff and chucks things at her. Thank goodness Billy comes home to clear things up. Despite Kate noticing the kiss mark, she doesn't seem to bring it up or suspect him of cheating. Before they can return to the office, they receive a surprise visit from Murray and Sheila Futterman, played again by Dick Miller and Jackie Joseph, respectively. They were going to come tomorrow, but their reunion got pushed forward.
Do you know they got Russian guys driving cabs in this burg? I mean, what if somebody got into a cab with a briefcase full of atomic secrets or something like that?
Yeah, knowing what they went through last time, especially now that Murray is seeing a therapist, they convince them to leave before they notice the little Mogwai that's in here. Back at Clamp Enterprises, Mohawk gets into some ice cream toppings and starts freaking the people out, right as our heroes return. And hey, we get another cameo from the movie's composer, Jerry Goldsmith, too. It's also after midnight, so they need to break into the water main and shut it off so the Mogwai don't multiply. And oh, I get it. They only bother putting security cameras in the maintenance area and not the rest of the building where your employees could be. Immediately, a security guard shows up before they can do anything and accuses Billy of being a terrorist.
What's in the bag?
Nothing.
Let's have a little look at that. Nothing.
Oh, just because he's carrying a bag, suddenly he's a terrorist? Typical cop, security guard allegations, I tell you. Fair enough. Surprise, mofo, it's Daffy Mogwai. And even though he clearly sees a wild creature and learns there's more, the guard is more willing to have Billy arrested. Luckily, Kate stays hidden, but unbeknownst to them, the other Mogwai have already begun metamorphosis. 6 hours later, Kate bails them out, right as a group of mimes are being brought in. What? So they can rush back to finish the job, but it's too late. Through a sick effect, the Gremlins have returned. Gizmo is still lost in the ventilation shaft, but he ends up falling to where the others are. who naturally start threatening him with an exposed cable wire. We get a follow-up with Marla, and at most, this is Kate's response while she thinks Billy is cheating on her.
If we get through today alive, you're in big trouble.
Billy talks with Frank about evacuating the building because of the creature problem they have, and it's here that they make fun of the general premise of the first movie regarding how the don't feed them after midnight rule works.
What if one of them eats something at 11 o'clock, but then he gets something stuck in his teeth?
Yeah, like a caraway seed or a sesame seed.
Whatever, right.
And then after 12 o'clock, it comes out. Now, he didn't eat that after midnight.
Wait a minute, what about this? What if they're eating in an airplane and they cross a time zone? I mean, it's always midnight somewhere.
Well, when you put it like that, it does seem pretty silly. Meanwhile, Kate is giving a tour of more TV studios, including an archery channel room and a cooking show with Microwave Marge, played by Kathleen Freeman, who makes Chef Gourmanda look legitimate.
I use a lot.
And of course, guess who shows up to prove Billy's point? Damn, Mohawk really is the reincarnation of Stripe from the first movie, even down to being voiced by Frank Welker. Much like their Mogwai forms, Rick Baker gave their Gremlin forms distinctive looks that truly set them apart from one another. Mohawk having even more of a reptilian look than those from the first movie, and having quills along his head in the form of a mohawk. Daffy, who we see popping out of Marge's cooking pot, has a bit of a hair tuft while being bright green and still has his goofy eyes. George maintains his grumpy-looking face and short stature, while Lenny carries over his buck teeth and dopey personality. Other design changes include being taller with longer arms, more prominent-looking spikes on their brows and cheekbones, more reptilian-looking skin, and even coming in different color variations, such as dark green, light green, and even brown. Anyway, they toss metal pans into the microwave just to blow it up. This triggers their sprinklers, which gets them wet, and causes more hellspawn to appear. This effect is so gross and nasty, but so well done. Frank is now starting to realize that shit's fucked and needs to do something. As Mohawk continues to pick on poor Gizmo, Kate learns that the Gremlins have taken over the elevator system. Daniel is apparently oblivious to what is going on, so naturally his secretary becomes the victim of a cartoonish prank. Well, now he decides to come out and investigate, and does this mean she died? Seeing that he's now part of the plot, hopefully this means he'll end up dying or horrifically injured in some fashion, right? Right? Well, about that. Yes, he does get injured here, but he also gets to kill the gremlin in a pretty wicked way. He, quite literally, shreds the bastard with a paper shredder.
Sir, are you okay? Yeah, I think so. I hate using these machines myself.
Awesome. Also, while I joke that he's meant to parody businessmen like Trump or Ted Turner, he's still better than the former. Oh sure, he's self-absorbed, but at most, he seems genuine about what he wants to do. He just sucks at managing, though if nothing else, you'd be better off with him than Frank, who's the real slave driver of his regime. When Billy warns him about the Gremlins and what they do, Clamp immediately believes him. Meanwhile, Kate has a pretty horrifying moment in the elevator, where the Gremlins stop it from moving and break through the walls with drills and an axe to get her. However, Daffy messes with the elevator's wiring and sends it plummeting down at breakneck speed from high above. Kate's lucky to not only survive the fall, but also to kill whatever gremlins were hanging out below. Back up top, Clamp wants the situation handled by themselves to avoid bringing the cops into it. So it's on Billy to help, since he's the expert. And then we get this fun little bit.
Now, I know some people found this movie fun, but me, I'd rather spend 2 hours having root canal work done.
Yeah, no joke. That's Leonard Maltin, as himself, reviewing the first movie as he did in real life. And the Gremlins get their revenge on him for not liking it. Then, over in the science lab, the Gremlins start wreaking havoc when one of them drinks a concoction that turns them into living vegetables. What? Dr. Catheter walks in, carrying one of the pods from the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers, because Joe Dante loves his 1950s B-movies, and spots one gremlin with...
I trust that's not the brain hormone that creature's drinking.
I wanna talk a little bit about what's going on in this room, because I think there are some fascinating ramifications here for the future.
Oh crap, he's pointing out the ramifications of gremlins being around chemicals. The brain gremlin here, as he's referred to, voiced by Tony Randall, is the standout gremlin of this entire movie, given the sort of humor he invokes during his screen time. Anyway, another gremlin drinks a bat serum and starts growing bat wings. Well, that doesn't seem like a big deal. Well, damn! He actually looks like a bat! I mean, of course he has wings, but his arms are smaller. He's colored almost gray and black, and he has more bat-like facial features, like his ears, nose, and teeth. It's like he's become a gargoyle. I love it. Oh, and of course they do a close-up on Christopher Lee's face during the transformation, which is a nice subtle callback to when he played Dracula in the old Hammer horror movies. And to make matters worse, Brainy plans to inject him with genetic sunblock to avoid the effects of bright light. And his explanation is so fascinating that even the twins are intrigued. The Bat Gremlin gets away via stop-motion animation, the scientists barely put effort into catching him, and... Well, ain't that cute? The chaos resumes, and surely Clamp's stock will take a tumble with the way things are going. Can't tell if anyone gets killed here, although there might be two that could be considered dead here. Yeah, no gag for them this time. Kate gets flashed by... Flasher Gremlin, I guess. Must be a reincarnation of the one from the first movie. And kicks it straight in the taint. She pulls the fire alarm. It works like everything else, with some stupid voice talking instead of just blaring the sound alarm.
Fire, the untamed element, oldest of man's mysteries, giver of warmth, destroyer of forests. Right now, this building is on fire.
The Vartamans are seen at the Cathedral of St. Eva Mary before getting attacked by the Bat Gremlin. I love how no one seems to be freaking out that much over it, and just seems annoyed as Murray fights it. He gets it caught in cement, and although it flies away after... Now it truly is a gargoyle. Heh, a Lego gremlin. Awesome. Aw man, Lenny, you broke it! Also at this point, the tradition of the filmmakers putting Gizmo in harm's way has increased in creativity. Catheter swears to Billy he won't ever experiment on animals again, and oh great, my copy seems to be breaking on itself. What the... Oh, I see. The Gremlins have hijacked the movie in what appears to be a movie theater. Meaning we've been watching a movie within a movie. Can you believe this? How often do I have to deal with movies within movies? That'd be like putting a review within a review. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. Meta humor aside, this is pretty funny. The Gremlins put on some black and white shorts featuring female nudists, while this mother character, played by Belinda Bolosky from the first movie, takes her daughter out of the theater and complains to the manager about what's going on. This whole bit is meant to spoof the reactions parents had when taking their kids to see the first movie. And then, after the theater projectionist, played by Kenneth Tobey, shows up having taken a beating from the Gremlins, the manager decides to take care of this problem by talking to Hulk Hogan.
Okay, you guys, listen up. People paid good money to see this movie. When they go out to a theater, they want cold sodas, hot popcorn, and no monsters in the projection booth. Do I have to come up there myself? Do you think the Grimsters can stand up to the Hulkster? Well, if I were you, I'd run the rest of Gremlins too, right now.
You know, personal baggage aside, this is probably one of the best things he's done. In an alternate version of the VHS release, the Gremlins invade this John Wayne Western, like how Stitch invaded other Disney movies for his movie teasers. Anyway, Fred sees news reports about the ongoing Gremlin incident and asks a tourist with a camera to assist him. We get more chemical shenanigans with one Gremlin becoming electricity, and then one Gremlin that's taken a gender-swapping serum? Well, hello there. This is Greta, and she's actually considered a transsexual icon to many fans. I can dig it. Wish she'd kill Frank, but instead she's horny for him.
Don't be afraid of what you feel. Oh, why can't you commit?
Catheter tries to get a weapon, but gets his hand bitten. Even after Billy pulls it off, Catheter dies from being zapped by the electric gremlin. Oh, and Mohawk took the gun they were trying to get. Damn, Frank Welker, you still scary. Also, why do they have a gun in this lab? Mohawk gets away, but not before grabbing a spider serum. Oh, that can't be good. Gizmo frees himself from the toy train set and remembers a line from Rambo, a sign that he needs to take action. Clamp sees Fred reporting the gremlin infestation in his own way, so now that's been leaked. Murray arrives to inform the fire department about the threat and that they shouldn't use water, but most of all...
I'm not crazy! I was never crazy. I'm fine. Let me in there!
Let me in! Let me in! Meanwhile, as Slayer plays in the background, Mohawk drinks the spider serum and... Yep, definitely not good! Billy catches the electric gremlin in a phone and tortures it with the hold music. Then, after Clamp plays a videotape of a message for when the end of civilization happens, Billy asks him to move the time ahead by a few hours and come up with something to trick them into thinking the sun has gone down. So they come out of the building. It's up to Clamp to figure out how to make them think this so they can save the city.
Save the city. Developer saves city. I like that. Good.
Elsewhere, George and Lenny are watching The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms on security TVs. I should really check that movie out sometime. When Marla comes strolling in, seemingly unaware of everything that's been happening in this place, and gets herself caught in a large web. Uh-oh.
This is new.
Then, after Gizmo knocks himself out by hitting a punching bag, we see Clamp's secret escape route coming up from beneath a planted tree on the sidewalk. He acts stupidly in front of the press, but Murray decides to take his little secret route to get inside. Lenny screws with the climate controls, and Daffy knocks Billy out with a mallet. Classic. Gizmo continues his Rambo-style preparations while time is being manipulated. All the while, Fred gives an interview with Brainy.
What is it that you want?
And what you and your viewers have. Civilization. Everything your society has worked so hard to accomplish over the centuries, that's what we aspire to. We want to be civilized. I mean, you take a look at this fellow here.
You know, I think this movie is incredibly loony. In a good way. Also love how one of the gremlins in this bar has a No Gizmo shirt. This does at least distract everyone long enough for Clamp to set up a tarp of the night sky over where they are and not the entire building. Well, I'll give them a point for effort, I suppose. Meanwhile, Billy's been taken to the dentist's office. Oh, sweet hell, they have one of those. And Daffy's the dentist. Oh, God, no!
Billy! Keep these little things!
Consider it payback for those things nearly killing him last time. Kate finds Marla, who nonchalantly admits that she and Billy didn't get it on, so it basically confirms he wasn't cheating. That's the end of that, and while freeing her... Holy shit! My God, he's freaking scarier than he was before. In fact, I think he might have gotten a tiny bit bigger. The stop-motion animation, combined with the animatronic puppetry, really sells just how frightening this evolution of a gremlin truly is. Anyway, who should save these two but Gizmo, now fully embracing his inner Rambo. That's for all the humiliation, motherfucker. Murray tells them they can't give up now, as Lincoln wouldn't give up.
Something terrible happened to me one year on Lincoln's birthday. I was 6 or 7.
Hey,
Beard and a hat looked just like Abe Lincoln.
Honey, I really don't think we've
Except
got
for the
time for this now.
No, wait, I want to know what happened. Yeah, that bit was an obvious jab at Kate's out-of-nowhere Santa story from the first movie. At any rate, all the gremlins have gathered downstairs to prepare their nighttime departure, as Brainy sings an appropriate Frank Sinatra song.
Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I wanna be a part of it. New York, New York.
Now, this is my favorite scene in the movie. The Gremlins just go to town with their hammy nature, going full musical here. Then we get Greta showing up to show off, then the Gremlins doing the conga, Gremlins pulling out guns from Acme. This truly is the ultimate live-action Looney Tunes movie. Before John Dante even made an actual live-action Looney Tunes movie. I should also note that this scene would have gone on even longer with even more gags. The point is, these little freaks are gonna demolish all of New York, but I kinda want to see what else they had planned for their pre-prep party. Before Clamp can drop the tarp, rain clouds begin to form. No more sun, and at the worst time. And if it rains while they're out...
I'm talking Armageddon. WWIII, you know what I mean?
Well, Billy has an idea. Get a fire hose and aim at the Gremlins, and make sure Gizmo is in a box beforehand. He then asks Kate if she can send that one electrical gremlin down here while Murray douses all the gremlins with water. All to do the ultimate gremlin kill. Seriously, this is so gnarly. They're all just being fried. Their flesh begins to melt off their bones. It's like watching animatronics lose their bodies. Yeah, of course they'd put that in. Here come the police, after failing to get in through both rotating doors, and of course Clamp was leading the charge, and he didn't have the safety on when he slipped. He gives Fred and his cameraman a position for his new news program, and makes Marla, whom he seems to be fond of now, his new head of public relations. He also seems to have a change of heart about how he should treat people as people rather than things.
The sacrifice. You know, that could be good in my next book. I should be taking notes.
He then notices Billy's drawing of his hometown of Kingston Falls, which inspires him to want to build a traditional community like it in New Jersey, calling it Clamp Corners, and makes Billy a partner on the project. Oh, and he also sees Gizmo, which gives him another idea.
Dolls with suction cups staring out car windows. A big float in the Macy's Day Parade. Has anybody ever talked to you about merchandising?
Merchandising, merchandising, where the real money from the movie is made.
Oh hey, those actually exist! And so it looks like Billy and Kate will be going home with Gizmo together. However, the movie truly ends when Clamp hears from Frank, who's been trapped on the top floor this entire time, with Greta, who wants to marry him. So that was Gremlins 2, and, you know, it's rare to see a movie sequel that is drastically different from what came before it, and still turn out really damn well because of it. Like, the first movie was closer in tone to A Nightmare on Elm Street with its comedic villains, despite still being more humorous. It had dark moments, but it could be funny because of the sort of threat they had. This movie, on the other hand, they go hands-on with the comedy, so any horrors or death that occur feels secondary. And yet it can still be scary or creepy like before. What I'm getting at is that this is Joe Dante just doing what he wanted, knowing he might not ever get to do this again with his own film series, and the end result is insanity and over-the-top gremlin shenanigans that get me smiling throughout the movie. That aside, I do think some of the human cast get a bit less time to develop, like Billy and Kate's situation isn't elaborated that much, and that dilemma with Marla is hardly touched upon. The stuff involving Clamp Enterprises' work ethic exists only for humor and light commentary, and while it paints Frank as a piece of crap, it only makes Daniel Clamp seem like an eager dumbass rather than the Trump parody he seemed to be at first. Hell, Clamp got to do some good and even changed for the better, something that would never happen in real life. Murray Futterman got to do some ass-kicking with the Gremlins, though it's mostly to make up for nearly killing him last time. As for the Gremlins themselves, while I stated earlier that Mohawk was the leader, Brainy pretty much stole the movie with his irresistible charm, funny lines, and amazing singing voice. But that's not to put Mohawk down, as he was still a pretty frightening and threatening upgrade from Stripe from the first movie. It's just he kinda gets held back from doing much aside from threatening Gizmo and causing light mischief early on. Didn't quite partake in the insanity as much as his brethren. Because of this, the plot is more basic with how the humans have to stop the Gremlins, what the Gremlins do in the meantime, and then most get killed by the end. Not bad, just that it prioritizes parodying the first movie and movie sequels over telling a complex story. However, beyond the awesome practical effects, the music is top-notch. Jerry Goldsmith, who scored the first movie, returned to score the sequel. He does a great job of invoking the chaotic humor the Gremlins possess while still maintaining their threatening demeanor. He gave us a Rambo-style version of Gizmo's theme, since he composed 4 of the Rambo movies as well. And his update of the Gremlin rag, which plays during the end credits, while faster paced and feeling more chaotic, is, in my opinion, just as good as the original. In terms of reviews, it was generally well received, though some critics, like Roger Ebert, thought it didn't do enough to differentiate itself from the first and thus considered it not as good. Which I get. As for grossing, well, there's no exact number for its budget, which ranges between $30 million and $50 million. It did gross just under $42 million. I imagine it's for that reason they didn't consider giving it another sequel. That is, until November 2025, when it was announced that the long-awaited second sequel, Gremlins 3, will finally be going into production in August of this year, with a November 19, 2027 release date, with Steven Spielberg returning as executive producer, Chris Columbus, who wrote the first movie, returning as co-writer, along with Zach Lipovsky and Adam Steen, and will also be taking over directing duties from Joe Dante. And I know many of you in the audience are excited to see this once-dead franchise come back to spook audiences, destroy neighborhoods, and take the world by storm again in your quest for chaos. Well, too bad. You little bastards won't get to be part of the next batch. And that takes care of that. At least it'll be more peaceful until the next movie. Until then, I'm the Media Hunter. Media's my prey, and reviewing them my way.